Radio check, loud and clear. Thank you everyone for tuning in and welcome along to the coverage here in Spa-Francorchamps. We have got a very exciting sprint quali session up ahead for us. And yeah, we're 30 minutes away from the start of it. We've had free practice one, no real incidents. I think we had one driver, it was Ollie Behrman, that went a little bit off into the gravel, but apart from that, it has been smooth sailing. A lot of drivers have missed their braking points, they've gone wide, but the only yellow flag we had was Behrman off into the gravel. We have had some other drivers with some issues. Stroll had some minor engine issues at the start of the session. Sainz had much bigger engine issues, and it took the team about half an hour to get those issues fixed and sorted. So Sainz only had half an hour of running, but apart from that, and Stroll has had a little bit less time as well. But apart from that, everyone else has had a pretty smooth free practice one session, to be honest. Yeah, pretty smooth overall. As you can see, I apologize for anyone that was watching the free practice one stream right at the end of the stream. I cut off a little bit early. I didn't realize that there were flying laps going on and I was getting a phone call. So yeah, I just sort of ended the stream without really paying much attention. So I do apologize. Just to summarize what happened at the end of the free practice one stream. Piastri was still top of the times. I think he improved a little bit. Verstappen was 4/10 back on his best flying lap. And then we had Lando Norris, who was in third, half a second back from his teammate George Russell in fourth, and Leclerc in fifth. So yeah, that was the end of free practice one. Just two hot laps, one from Max and one from Norris, and that ended up changing the leaderboards quite significantly. Yeah. Shocking, taking a phone call over as well. The phone call was for actually my motorcycle. I've been getting my motorcycle license and it was arriving today, so that's what the phone call was about. Yeah. Only one practice session, really safe on this circuit. It is. The reason it's safe is because Formula One has driven here since the 1950s. I think since 1950. We have raced here at Spa pretty much every single year. There may have been, I think, 2 years that the Spa circuit was missed, but apart from that, it was we have not had we've had a race here every single time. So the teams know the circuit. They have all of the data on it. The drivers have all of the knowledge of it. The Formula 2 drivers drive here. The Formula 3 drivers drive here. So that's why doing one free practice session is fine. What bike am I getting? I'm getting a Honda CB 125. It's only a 125cc because that's what you need to start off learning here in the UK, and then you can move up to a bigger bike. But I'll get a photo up of it, or I'll just get the Honda showroom photo or something. But is it dry or wet? It is dry, ladies and gents. It is dry. There was a 10% chance of rain for the F3 practice session. There was a 10% chance of rain for FP1. There's a 10% chance of rain for sprint quali. But as of right now, it is dry. Yeah. Okay. If you're old enough, you can do direct access and skip the 125s. Yeah, but the thing is, I'm not old enough. Still at university, so. Anything interesting happening in FP1? Not much, really. We've got the yellow flags and the double yellows on the circuit right at the end of the session because they were testing out some. I don't know. The marshals were just waving the flags and testing out the systems to make sure everything works. I think that's why we have the yellow flags at the end of the session. F1 game, a dream bike. I think some of the Honda CBR 500. I think that's probably the next bike that I get. To be honest, I don't really see the point in getting a 1000cc bike because you're not really going to be able to go that fast on roads. So unless you're going to a racetrack, which could be cool, you're not really going to use it. So I don't know. I've just got my license, so I'll figure out my dream bike after I've done some more kilometers. Okay. Leclerc, please win. Respond F1 Gamer. I mean, Leclerc has been doing pretty well considering that they've got a brand new upgrade package. The Ferraris were looking pretty strong earlier on in the session. I don't know how hard they were really pushing, but I was explaining this in Free Practice 1. Essentially, Ferrari have brought a new anti-squat rear suspension system, and the anti-squat rear suspension essentially just means that they can run the car closer to the ground, reduce the bottoming out, and get as much downforce as they possibly can, and have consistent downforce. That's the bigger thing, because it's, if you have consistently low downforce, the drivers can deal with that. If you're consistently high downforce, the drivers can also deal with that. But if you suddenly go from high downforce to low downforce and you lose that grip, that's something the drivers can't deal with. So Ferrari, this rear suspension upgrade, not sure, it's not so much increasing the downforce, it's more so making the downforce much more consistent, and making the car a little bit more drivable, because Leclerc and Hamilton both have been complaining. Hamilton has been complaining in the dry more so than Leclerc, but in the wet, both of them were complaining. They were saying the car's the worst thing that they've ever driven. So it's that's essentially what's going on there. Ferrari trying to make the car a little bit more drivable. Was planning to get my bike license before COVID hit. Yeah, always wear a helmet. Yeah, of course, always wear a helmet. I mean, it's pretty cool actually to wear a helmet. You feel like an F1 driver. You see Max Verstappen or Piastri getting out from a pole lap and then setting the helmet down on the side. Basically the same thing. As me taking off my helmet after stalling the bike 3 times in a row. Okay. Raced RD350Ls. Oh, that's pretty cool, actually. F1 Gamer, what's meant by the battery override and active aero? Essentially, active aero is, let's say you're going down the straights, and down the straights you want low downforce and low drag. Going through the corners you want high downforce and high drag. So currently in Formula 1, you've got your rear wing, front wing just being fixed. Apart from, with the small exception of DRS, your rear wing and your front wing is always fixed. You can have a flexi front wing, flexi rear wing, but you can't really control that, as a driver. It's more so, just the materials and the structure flexing about. But active aero is like the drivers will have a button and they can press that to give them more downforce, or they can press a button to give them more top speed. So that's sort of what active aero is. And I think a battery override, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure what the battery override thing is, but if I was to have a stab in the dark at it, it would essentially just be that the batteries are normally you're allowed to use, I think, like 30% or 50% of your battery during one quali lap, but that's a rule set by the FIA. But then I think maybe a battery override is saying, oh, you can use 60% if you want. But I'm not 100% sure about that one, so you should probably ask someone else. Okay. Is this QUALI on Service TV? No, this QUALI is on ORF. Folks, if you're watching using the Austrian VPN servers, this weekend it's all available on ORF. O for Oscar, R for Race, F for Ferrari. That's where you want to... That's what you want to Google so you can watch the Formula 1. We are 22 minutes away from the start of the session. I'm going to take you through an onboard lap of the circuit. Let me take you through a dry lap of Spa. This lap, in fact, is, I think, top 4% on the leaderboard. So it's a pretty quick lap here. And, yeah, I drove it, I think, yesterday. So, essentially, the main thing here, you want to get a very, very straight exit, as straight as you possibly can, smoothly onto the power. And now going into turn 1, I made a little bit of a mistake here. You don't want to downshift into second. You want to carry as much speed as you can in third gear. And then because when you upshift from second to third, you saw there, if I rewind a tiny little bit there, you can see the RPMs just suddenly jump as I go from second up into third. And that's because the rear of the car was already at the limit of grip. And then when I upshift from second to third gear, that upsets the rear of the rear tires. It sort of disturbs them a little bit, because you're never going to get a smooth changeover from second to third. They are extremely close to being smooth, but when you're already on the limit of grip, you can't afford any more any unsmoothness. And yeah, upshifts always give you unsmoothness, and same for downshifts really. The gearboxes aren't perfect, so you probably want to stay in third gear, and the drivers normally do stay in third gear, and then you accelerate up the hill, going through Eau Rouge here. Just go over the curbs on the left hand side. They're totally flat and not an issue. In the wet they would be an issue, but in dry conditions they're flat, not that slippery, so you can get away with it. Open DRS as you come down the Camel Straight here, heading towards the Les Combes chicane. Now you brake at the 50-meter mark, and you brake on the entry curb over the apex. You drive over the apexes here, and now this is the highest point of the circuit. Now you're going downhill from here, so you're braking. You got to brake ever so slightly earlier now into this corner, turn number 8. It is so long. It just continues on and on and on, and then you slowly get onto the power. Now through No Name Corner, you go down the hill towards Puon. You're just accelerating up to 7th gear, a little lift, and then turn the car in, and then hold it flat again as you go through the second part of Puon, then towards the La Fange chicane. You've got a great reference point of just the curbs there. Start braking at the curbs, down to 4th gear, and then 5th for the second portion of the chicane. Now towards Stavelot, you've got gravel trap on the exit. You've got to be super duper careful. You overshoot the corner by 1 meter, you're off into the gravel, quali lap over, yellow flags out, and that's the end of your session. So you've got to be very careful on the exit of Stavelot, but you've also got to commit, because you've got a huge long straight now down towards Blanchimont. The driver's easy flat through here. In 8th gear you can hug the inside line, and then just towards the bus stop chicane, brake at the 100-meter mark, straight line braking, shift your brake balance forward a little bit as well, and then 2nd gear smoothly onto the power again, not trying to wheel spin because your tyres are kind of overheating it by this point, and then across the line, and that is a lap of Spa. Yeah. I'll take you through a wet lap at some point. You know, if you even get a hint of rain, I'll take you through a wet lap. But yeah, F1 Gamer, what are your race sprint predictions? Okay, so I think if Verstappen does get pole position today, I think that Verstappen will take the sprint race win. However, if Verstappen gets the pole position for Saturday, I don't think he'll get the race win. And the reason I'm thinking this is, right, Verstappen will be running a low downforce setup. There's no way he can compete with the McLarens also running a high downforce setup. So Verstappen's running a low downforce setup, McLaren's are running a high downforce setup. So the lower downforce setup does give you the advantage in qualifying, but Verstappen's going to take advantage of that he's going to take advantage of the small boost that he gets from running a low downforce setup. He's going to get pole. Then in the sprint race, because there's no sort of tyre strategy, you put on a set of medium tyres and you go to the end of the race pretty much, Verstappen will be able to just stay ahead of the McLarens because he'll have that top speed advantage from the low downforce setup. But then when it comes to race day, if Verstappen were to get pole, then the tyre wear is going to be a much bigger factor on race day. There's going to be strategies, potentially 2 stops, maybe even some rain, and that low downforce setup is not going to work on a Sunday, and Verstappen will lose the positions to the McLaren. I think that's what's going to happen if Verstappen were to get pole. I think if Russell or Leclerc were to put together some sensational laps, then that would throw a very big spanner into the works, wouldn't it? Because Russell, of course, he has got an amazing quali lap back from 2021 in wet conditions around here in Spa. He's great around Spa. Charles Leclerc is also fantastic around Spa. He got his first win in Spa back in 2019, I think. Yeah, if I'm correct. And yeah, Charles Leclerc will be fighting for this one as well with the upgraded Ferrari. So I guess we'll see what happens. I guess we will see. Okay. The tyre infos from FP1. Yeah, folks, the data's currently, the FP1 data will get the sprint quali data in, I think, 7 minutes time or so. Yeah. What game are you using to show the onboard laps? F1 21. I haven't got the new game yet. For DRS, what determines whether a racer can use it or not? So you see this these little green dots here that I've got on the screen. These are the DRS detection points. So if there's 2 drivers following, so in race conditions, let's say there's a driver in first place and the driver in second place is within 1 second, so crosses this green dot within 1 second of the driver ahead of them, then they will get DRS down the next straight. And the same thing for this green dot here. If they're within 1 second of this of the driver ahead of them at this point, then they'll get DRS down the Camel Straight. In qualifying, the drivers can use DRS whenever they want, and in practice, the same rule applies. I do the hot laps for F125 demonstration. I mean, I think the only time I'll ever need F125 is when when there's a race in Vegas, because the 21 game doesn't have Vegas on it. But apart from that, I actually have quite a bit of fun doing doing the hot laps. So yeah, I mean, I'll let you guys know if I need a lap recorded for the Vegas Grand Prix. Yeah. Okay. An overtake mode, or yeah, overtake mode, or yeah, it's overtake mode really, that's what it's called, is a boost of electrical power from the power unit just to give them a little bit of extra top speed down the straights. Okay, do you think at least one Mercedes driver will be in the top three in the sprint? I mean, well, it's tough to say really, because the McLarens are so dominant. I mean, I don't know if you guys were watching the FP1 stream, but Oscar Piastri, okay, if you ignore Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri was at least 9/10 quicker just in the middle sector compared to every other driver on the grid. He was 5/10 quicker than his teammate, at least 9/10 quicker than every other driver in the field through the middle sector. I mean, that was simply incredible from Piastri, and that wasn't low fuel as well. Like, he had a reasonable amount of fuel in the car when he did that lap as well. So I just don't really know if anyone can compete with the McLarens. That middle sector performance was ridiculous. Unless, you know, it was a one-off thing that Piastri won't be able to replicate. Maybe there's a chance then, but otherwise, that was mind-blowingly fast from Piastri. F1 Gamer, is there a VPN giveaway this weekend? Yeah, I think I'll do one. If we hit, I think 185k subs on Sunday, then I'll do a giveaway. Yeah, why not? Because I think I basically just have to ask Surfshark VPN and they'll send me the codes over. So, um, yeah, why not? Okay, I think we have got the data coming through very shortly as well for Sprint Quali. And just to reiterate, folks, Sprint Quali, slightly different to normal qualifying. We have got a 12-minute Q1 session with the drivers having to use medium tyres, a 10-minute Q2 session with the drivers having to use medium tyres, and then an 8-minute Q3 session with the drivers having to use soft tyres. Also, I'd like to say, here in Spa, this is one of the longest circuits on the calendar, so it might be extremely tight for the drivers to actually do 2 laps in Q3, because okay, so let's say, you know, their normal laps around Spa, so I'd say warm-up laps are around 2 minutes or so. So 2 minutes of a warm-up lap, and then you do your hot lap, which is a 1 minute 40, and then you've got another 2 minutes or so of a cool-down lap, and then you have to go back into the pits, and that's 6 minutes already. So you're not going to be able to get it out unless what you do is you fuel up for two laps, but then you come into the pits, just do a quick pit stop, and then go back out onto the circuit, and then maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to do 2 runs in Q3, but it's going to be extremely tight for the drivers. We'll see how they deal with that, because here in Spa, of course, longest circuit on the calendar, also takes the longest amount of time to complete a lap around Spa, even though it's a very high-speed circuit. It's just so long. Yeah, I guess we'll see. When does it start? In 12 minutes time, folks. 12 minutes time, and then we should have the session start. All right, there we go. Fantastic. Let me just get rid of the... There we go. Fantastic. Got the quali data. F1 Gamer, do you watch Ricky's F1 Addiction? I think I've watched a couple of his videos, but not all of them. Yeah. Which team are you supporting? Well, you know, I am a Seb Vettel fan, as you could probably see from my wallpaper, actually. I don't know if it's going to show up now, but yeah, you can see there. That's Seb Vettel with the number 5 on his helmet. He's on my wallpaper. Like, I'm a Seb Vettel fan. He's no longer driving the sport, so I'm not really supporting anyone. You know, if you watched last weekend's stream or the last races stream, you could say I was rooting for Nico Hulkenberg, but I don't really know. Like, I'm just here for some good racing, really. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool to see. It'd be pretty cool to see a Williams on the podium. Let's put it that way. If they could get yeah, if they could get a podium on pure pace. Of course, George Russell did get a podium here in Spa in 2021 on pure pace, technically, after a three lap race behind the safety car. But yeah, if they could get one on pure pace, that would be mega. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Do you think Seb should become Red Bull's team boss? Ooh, I mean, that'd be an interesting one, wouldn't it? I mean, I don't think Seb wants to become, say, a team boss or a team principal, but I think Seb would probably have a pretty good eye for which drivers are good, which drivers are competent, which ones have potential in the future of Formula One. So, you know, he could replace Helmut Marko's position in Red Bull as the sort of the driver academy person, you know, the person that looks to the young drivers and hopefully makes them and sort of molds them into Formula One beasts. Yeah, I think Seb Vettel would be pretty good at that. Okay. Yeah. Do you know where I could watch live F1 in India? I think fan code is there's a thing called fan code in India. Um, I remember googling it at some point because yeah, I don't remember why, but I think fan code's a thing, but it's not free. And I think if you want to watch Formula One for a cheap price, the other alternative is of course Surfshark VPN, and then you join an Austrian VPN server, go onto Google, search ORF, make an account, log in, job done. You can watch Formula One. Commentary is in German, so if you understand German, perfect. If you don't, then you can always mute it, listen to me instead. That's how 300, 400 people are using it right now to watch the stream in this way. So, you know, it definitely does work. And if for whatever reason it doesn't, you can always get a refund. Okay. Yeah, 9 minutes away from the start of qualifying, ladies and gents. Let me know what your predictions are. Who do you think is going to be getting eliminated in Q1? Are we going to have some surprise eliminations? Yuki Tsunoda is running a downgraded version of the Red Bull compared to Max Verstappen. You know, we know that the Red Bull car itself is very difficult to drive. Yuki Tsunoda is driving a downgraded version of it, which definitely isn't helping. The one thing that he does have on his side is the fact that the current Red Bull team principal, so no longer Christian Horner, I think it's Lauren Mekies, was used to be the Racing Bulls team principal, and of course he got promoted, and he knew Yuki Tsunoda very well. You know, he's had previous experience working with him, so I think that's going to help him out and potentially, you know, make it a little bit easier to perform in the Red Bull without the constant pressure that I'm sure Christian Horner was probably applying, because, you know, I think Red Bull itself is a very high pressure environment, and yeah, I think maybe a new team principal would change that ever so slightly. F1 Gamer, instead of starting the stream 15 minutes early, start 15 minutes early, end 15 minutes early. I'll probably start running the streams a little bit later on into, you know, maybe a couple minutes afterwards. But I've talked about this before. The YouTube algorithm doesn't particularly like it. And it sort of like the next couple of streams for the channel don't go so well, so I'm trying to figure something out, and I think I've sorted something out. So probably from after the summer break I'll be able to continue the streams on you know, like 15 minutes after the end of the session, and it'll still be all good. But yeah, it's a little bit of a headache, you know, this YouTube algorithm. All right. Yeah, we got 4,000 people tuned into the live stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage so far. And you know, we'll run through all of the drivers, see what to expect from all of them. So you know, let's start from the bottom. We've got Oliver Behrman, 20th position. Not the best weekend last weekend out in Silverstone. You know, it was a home Grand Prix, but unfortunately crashed into his teammate, and both Haas out of the points. Every single team scored a point last race out in Silverstone, and Haas did not. Every team apart from Haas scored points, so not ideal for him. And that was solely his fault as well. So he's got to bounce back from that one, and we'll see how he does. Colapinto, he's sort of been driving on borrowed time, to be honest. He initially got a 5-race contract, and then this is now his 7th race, so he's just been continuing on, and it's sort of now a race by race basis, which, you know, I don't really think it's a race by race basis. It's more so that that Franco Colapinto sponsors bring more money than Jack Doohan's sponsors do. So that's why they've got Colapinto in the car. It's pretty straightforward. So yeah, Colapinto's going to continue on as long as his sponsors keep paying Alpine money. Sonoda in 18th position at the end of FP1, he's got some ground to make up. Of course, if he could get out of Q1, that'd be a great start. Potentially into Q3, that'd be fantastic because Verstappen's going to need every help that he can get. And if he can get a tow down the Kenworth straight from his teammate, then that would be incredible for him. So as we know, Yuki is definitely a number 2 driver, and if he gets it through into Q3, his job will purely just to be give Max Verstappen a tow so that he can get pole position. But we'll see. He hasn't been able to achieve that past couple of races. Maybe this weekend will be a turning point. We've got Gasly in 17th position. Gasly's been driving fantastically. I don't think this weekend's going to be so good for them because Alpines are down on power and Spa is a very power-sensitive circuit. The drivers spend 70% of the lap or so around full throttle. So, yeah, very, very sensitive to power. And, that's not Alpine's strong suit. But we've had 12 races so far in the season. Gasly has entered Q3 6 times. And if we just take a quick look at the constructors, where are Alpine in the constructors? They are dead last in 10th position. Still, Pierre Gasly, 6 out of 12 races this season has ended up in Q3. So fantastic job from Gasly, and hopefully next year he'll have a bit better of a car. Ocon in 16th, he's got some ground to make up as well. He hasn't had the best start of the season. The Haas hasn't been doing too well, but Haas have sort of given up on this year, as have not given up, but they've basically just diverted all attention to 2026, and we'll see how that works for them. Lawson in 15th position, he's had a really good comeback from the start of the season, and he's just got to continue onwards. Now, Matt Hadjar, that's the main thing, cannot be falling behind Hadjar because Lawson has got more race experience than Hadjar, so in theory he should be keeping up with him. Nico Hülkenberg coming off the back of an incredible podium out in Silverstone. It'll be amazing to see him get a race win here in the rain in Spa. Anything can happen. So maybe it's time for a Nico Hülkenberg win just after a podium back to back. That would be wild. But he's on fantastic form, and he's brought the Kick Sauber team up to 6th position in the constructors. 41 points scored for Kick Sauber. If we have a look at the Drivers' Championship, Nico Hülkenberg has scored 37 of those 41 points. So Bortoleto scored 4 and Hülkenberg 37. So Hülkenberg has single-handedly brought the Kick Sauber team up into 6th position, and now they're fighting against Williams for 5th place in the constructors. And because of that, Williams have brought a Hail Mary upgrade package. They had designed an upgrade package but decided, oh no, there's no point manufacturing it, we've got to focus on 2026. And they realized, oh no, Kick Sauber's getting too close to us. So now Williams have said that, oh no, we need to upgrade, we need to manufacture this upgrade package, otherwise we're going to lose 5th place to the Kick Sauber team. And Williams have brought upgrades this weekend, and we'll see how that works out for them. Looking at the standings from FP1, 11th and 12th for Sainz and 13th and 14th for Bortoleto. The gap wasn't too big, so the fight is still on. Bortoleto in 13th place, of course, he's got he's in his rookie season. He's been performing quite well, to be honest. His racecraft hasn't been up with Nico Hülkenberg, but his quali pace has been pretty reasonable. So, still a solid job from Gabriel Bortoleto. We've got Albon in 12th, Sainz in 11th, and Sainz had engine issues in FP1, so he's going to be slightly on the back foot, but I think he'll be able to bounce back. Albon has been performing fantastically, and he's been outscoring Sainz, in fact, so got a hats off to Alex Albon. Then we've got Hadjar in 10th. I've got to say, fantastic drive from the rookie, really. He's been, this season has been fantastic for him. He started off, of course, crashing in Australia before the race had even begun. Head in his hands, totally disappointed at the end of that one. But since then, steady progress up the field, and Isaac Hadjar has been doing a great job, so maybe he'll get through into Q3. We've got Alonso and Stroll in 8th and 9th. Aston Martin brought their upgrade package. Looks like it's their final upgrade package of the season. They had a good one in Imola, and then since then their performance hasn't been so good, so maybe this will help them out, maybe it won't. But we'll see what Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll can do. Of course, in FP1, momentarily Stroll was up in 1st position, but that was purely down to the fact that he was out on soft tyres before anyone else. Then we've got Hamilton in 7th and Antonelli 6th, Leclerc 5th. Two Ferraris, both got rear suspension upgrades, anti-squat suspension, and that is hoping to make the car a lot more drivable, a lot more consistent. The drivers can push it to the limit without being scared of losing the car snapping out from underneath them. So I guess we'll see what happens there, but it looks good for Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. We've got Antonelli in 6th position at the end of FP1. We'll see what progress he can make, but he's been doing pretty solidly compared to George Russell, and he's also got a podium to his name. So nice one there from Antonelli. Russell, of course, great lap here in 2021, and he's been driving fantastically past couple of years at Spa. Of course, last year, crossed the line in first place, ended up getting disqualified for being underweight on his car, but regardless, his pace was mega, and maybe he can stick it on pole position today. We've got Lando Norris in 3rd, half a second back from his teammate at the end of FP1. Verstappen 0.4 of a second back from Oscar Piastri in FP1, and Piastri just a mega middle sector. There's no other way to describe it. Just ridiculous pace through the middle sector. 9/10 quicker than any other team or driver apart from Lando Norris, who was half a second quicker than. So it's looking to be Piastri's weekend so far, but you know, things can change in a matter of seconds. I guess we'll see. Okay, as you can see there, folks, the timer, 15 seconds left on the clock, and we are about to go racing here in Spa-Francorchamps. I shall take you through a lap of the circuit, and just to reiterate, I think we have got a couple of different drivers using a couple of different setups. So Verstappen's running a low downforce setup, both McLarens are running high downforce setups, I think the Astons are running low downforce setups, and then the rest you'll be able to see through the speed trap tracker. And the timer has begun, ladies and gentlemen. We are underway for QUALI. Nobody's coming out onto the circuit. I don't know why, but there are 12 minutes on the clock, and everyone is sat at the end of the pit lane waiting for someone else to go out. Okay. Shivanash, hello. You know, you've sent that message about 10 times, like... Yeah, there's no point sending a hi message 10 times, but finally we've got cars coming out onto the circuit there. There we go. Looks like Charles Leclerc and a couple of other drivers making their way out onto the circuit. Very nice. Isaac Hadjar and Hulk first out onto the track. All right, let me get rid of this countdown timer. There we go, and we've got the sector times up on the screen as well. As expected, folks, medium tyres for SQ1 and SQ2. Then we'll have the softs for Q3. All right. Yeah, let me know what your predictions are, folks. Let me know what you think's going to happen. Once again, I'll quickly take you through a lap of the circuit while we are waiting for some flying laps to begin. Here we go, onboard lap of Spa-Francorchamps. You go into the bus-stop chicane here, brake at the 100-meter mark, and the main thing now, smooth on the power, smooth on the upshifts as well. Get up into 3rd gear, and then open the DRS flap as you go down the start-finish straight into La Source, turn number 1. Carry as much speed as you can. Probably want to go through there in 3rd gear, and then smoothly onto the power as you head down the straight. Your 22 seconds, the next 22 seconds are flat out from the exit at La Source. Bureau Rouge and Radion, the biggest elevation change of any Formula 1 circuit here in Spa. The drivers heading uphill through the Camel Straight with the DRS flap open, then braking into Les Combes as late as they possibly can onto the curbs, and then... yeah, right, then left, and then another right, and as you pass the exit of this corner, this is the highest point of the circuit. Now it's downhill from here. Downhill, you've got to brake a little bit earlier. You also lose a little bit of front grip as you're going downhill, so your understeer is a lot more prevalent through this corner. This is no-name corner. In fact, it hasn't got a name. You go down the hill towards Pouhon. Well, I guess technically it's no-name corner, so it has got a name, but regardless, you're a little lift for Pouhon, and then flat through the second half, then towards the La Fangia chicane, just straight onto the brakes, 4th gear through the first part, 5th through the second part, and smooth onto the power, then into Stavolo here. You've got 1.5 meters of margin. If you go wide by 1.5 meters off into the gravel, end your quali lap. hug the inside line as much as you can, then you're straight through the back straight towards Blanchimont, and you're up in 8th gear. No DRS for this part of the circuit because you have got some kinks in the road, and slipstream is still very, very powerful at this part of the circuit. And then you're braking a straight line here for the bus stop chicane. Shift your brake balance forward a little bit through the right, through the left, and then straight line your exit as much as you can. Don't cut across the left, just go straight line to the start finish line because that is the minimum distance. But that is a lap of Spa, ladies and gents, and here we are now. We've got all the drivers out onto the circuit apart from Verstappen, Stroll, Alonso and Tsunoda, and we are going to get our flying laps underway. If Vettel was to drive an LMP cars, would you stream his race? Oh yes, 100% guaranteed. I would, yeah. If Vettel was racing again in LMP, I would. I'd be streaming the full 24 hours of Le Mans. Okay. So here we go then. We have got a couple of flying laps beginning here. Who is starting their flying lap? So we got a quick first sector here from Esteban Ocon, and Isaac Hadjar is, I think, the front of the queue. Yeah, so Isaac Hadjar just makes his way through Blanchimont now and towards bus stop, or the bus stop chicane. Right, then left, and then smoothly onto the power in that white Racing Bull. Across the line comes Isaac Hadjar. First lap time of the session, a 1:42.7. Look at that, it is already quicker than the 2022 pole. As you'd expect, we've had 3 years of development of these cars. Nico Hulkenberg, a 1:43.2 from him as well. And Liam Lawson, a 1:42.8 from him, 2/10 back from his teammate. Then Gabriel Bortoletto, second place for him. He goes ahead of Nico Hulkenberg by about 0.4 of a second. Very nice. And Norris starts a flying lap. Piastri also doing the same. And Ocon still holds the fastest first sector. He must have got a tow or something, or maybe he's got a low downforce setup. Who knows? But Ocon across the line, 3rd place for Esteban Ocon. Then we've got Behrman, 5th place for him, and the gap between the teammates only 1/10 of a second. Alright, got 10,000 people tuning into the live stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe, folks. Really does help out the channel. Hopefully we can hit 1,500 likes. Ooh, is that Behrman? Behrman has got a lap time deleted, ladies and gentlemen, at turn number 4. That is on the exit of Radion. Behrman exceeded track limits. I'll get you a quick replay on what he must have done. I don't have the exact replay of what he's done, but I'll show you what he probably did. Let's see, let's just skip forward a little bit. Yeah, so, you go through turn number 2, then this is 3, and then this is 4 here. Yeah, so Behrman was much more onto the left-hand side, just cut the corner completely. Obviously, he's trying to straight line it as much as possible to minimize the speed that he loses. But, of course, there's a limit that you can do that, and he exceeded track limits. And a lap time deleted for Behrman. Okay, Barry, thanks for the donation. If Lando wins here, you have to worry for Piastri. Indeed you do. Indeed you do. That points gap is getting closer and closer by the day, by the race. And, yeah, Piastri has got a championship fight on his hands. Alright, Sainz up across the line, 4th place for him. Albon only 9th, actually. Quite a big gap between the two Williams drivers, which is quite rare. Typically, you see Williams drivers right next to each other. Piastri purple in the middle sector, and again, he's 2/10, 3/10 quicker than his teammate in the middle sector. It is incredible how he keeps pulling that one off. Lando Norris, 1:42.0, and his teammate Oscar Piastri across the line, a 1:41.76, a quarter, 3/10 of a second quicker, is Oscar Piastri, and a good start to the session for him, really. As you can see here, Lando Norris 317 km per hour through the speed traps. Verstappen 316 km per hour through the speed traps. Let's see what Piastri is doing. Is he quicker through the speed traps? Is he slower? Has he got more downforce, less downforce? Yeah, I guess we shall see. No, it looks like Piastri's got less downforce. He's got a quicker top speed, I think. Alright, Tsunoda's on a flying lap. So is Verstappen here. Verstappen's coming through the middle sector. Let's see what he can do. Yeah, Piastri is 318 km per hour, 4th position in terms of the speed trap. So, yeah, slightly less downforce than his teammate, and that's helping out. He's got less downforce, but still quicker in the middle sector. I mean, that's impressive from Piastri, I've got to say. Here comes Max Verstappen. 2nd place splits the McLarens, and ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have got a fight on our hands here today. And Yeah, Verstappen's not going to give this one up easily, and he's going to be fighting Piastri and Norris tooth and nail for this pole position. We've got Tsunoda here in 11th position. He is 9 tenths back from Max Verstappen, kind of to be expected. He's got a downgraded Red Bull, but we have got a fight on our hands. Okay. Yeah, Stroll up into 6th place as well. Really good lap there from Stroll. Let's see what Fernando Alonso can do. He has been doing he's been pretty nice as well. He looks like he's running slightly less downforce than his teammate. Managed to just go 0.3 of a second quicker and purple in the final sector. Looks like he must have got a tow off from someone. But up into 4th place for Fernando Alonso. Great lap. And the Aston Martins brought upgrades. Maybe they're really working. You know, since Adrian Newey's arrived at Aston Martin, their upgrade packages have been something else, really. You know, maybe I'm speaking a little bit too soon, but things look positive at the Aston Martin team. Why is this calling on the Austrian VPN TV? It is on ORF. It's not on Service TV. So yeah, if the Service TV doesn't work, you can connect to a Swiss server and search SRF, and that will work. But it's ORF for the Austrian one, and for the Swiss one, it is SRF. Anyway, 2 minutes, 40 seconds left on the clock here, ladies and gentlemen. We've got some drivers still out in the circuit. The drivers in the elimination zone, Lewis Hamilton, with the upgraded Ferrari, is still in the elimination zone. 16th position for him. You know, Albon is barely getting out the elimination zone as well. Then we've got the two Gazis. Antonelli is down in 19th. I don't know what has happened to him. We got a lap time deleted. Turn number 15. Which one's that? That is Stavolo, just on the exit of Stavolo. I'll give you a quick show of what happened to Antonelli as well then. Let's fast forward. I think it's around about here. Oh, no, just before that. All right. Yeah, so just here on the you hit this apex and you run out wide, but Antonelli was a little bit more to the left-hand side here, and that's where he exceeded his track limits. Went wide of the circuit, exceeded track limits, got lap time deleted. So that's why Antonelli is down in 19th. You say Yuki is a downgraded Red Bull car? Yes. Yuki Tsunoda is not running all of the new upgrade packages, and the Red Bull team aren't even bothering to manufacture them for him. Tsunoda will be running a downgraded version of the Red Bull till the end of the season because the team is fully focused on 2026, or fully focused on getting Max Verstappen a World Championship. So, yeah, maybe he'll get some more upgrade packages later on, but they'll be like hand-me-downs from Max Verstappen. So Verstappen will get the new upgrade package, and then Tsunoda will get the old upgrade package from Max. I think that's how it's working, because firstly, the Red Bull car isn't that drivable, and I think the upgrades make it even more undrivable. So that's why Tsunoda's been given the old one to hopefully make it a little bit more stable for him. But yeah, I don't really know what Red Bull are doing. It's a mess down there. And Christian Horner, who's been team principal since the inception of the team back in 2005, was when the first time Red Bull raced in Formula 1. And since then, Christian Horner has been team principal. And now in 2025, 20 years later, he's been fired. Yeah, I mean, it's over for Red Bull. I mean, yeah, things aren't looking good for them. Let's put it that way. 30 seconds left on the clock, folks. And, yeah, Hamilton's got his work cut out. Alonso, purple in the first sector. Incredible. I don't know if that was a tow off Antonelli or if it was just a pure pace from Alonso. But 318 kilometers per hour through the speed traps. 4th quickest, on par with Oscar Piastri. So, looking good there. Looking good. And then we'll see what he can do through the middle sector. Okay. 11 seconds left on the clock. Everyone now rushing across the line to get their flying lap started. I think Lawson and Hulkenberg are going to be too close to each other. I don't know what's going on there. But they're both starting flying laps, and Hulkenberg is way too close to Lawson. I mean, he'll get a bit of a tow, but he's also going to lose out in the middle sector. So, not ideal there for Hulk. Right, now we've got flying laps coming in then. So that is the end of SQ1. We've got the final laps coming through. So Stroll into the pits. I mean, he's in 7th place. He should be fine to make it through. Charles Leclerc, he's also in 8th. And does he improve? No, actually. He goes 2/10 slower. And yeah, the medium tyres are not performing like QUALI tyres, really. Top 3 are in the pits as expected. Fernando Alonso backs out of his middle sector. Either he made a mistake or he just knew that he was making it through, so it didn't matter. Colapinto and Antonelli both come across the line. Antonelli does not improve. He's 3.6 seconds back. There's a yellow flag. Yellow flag. Is that Hamilton? Is that Hamilton stuck at the bus stop chicane? Is that Hamilton eliminated out of Q1? What's just happened? Hamilton, has he just driven into the pits? Hamilton, that's it. Hamilton, yellow flag's out. He's spun, and that's Hamilton's out of Q1, ladies and gentlemen. Ferrari brought an upgrade package. Hamilton has never finished lower than 4th position here in Spa, but this weekend he's going to start in 17th position for the sprint race. Oh my goodness me. Just when things couldn't get any worse for him. He's knocked out of Q1. Antonelli as well. I don't know how he's 3.5 seconds back. He must have made a huge mistake again. Albon improves, but not enough to get out of Q1. And he's in 16th position. And the yellow flags are out. Nobody else could improve because Hamilton brought out the yellows. And I don't think anyone else was allowed to push. All right then, a bit of a anticlimactic end to SQ1, and we have got Albon eliminated, Hülkenberg eliminated, Hamilton eliminated, Colapinto and Antonelli eliminated. Yeah. Antonelli has been doing so great this season so far. Hamilton as well. I mean, Hamilton hasn't had the strongest starts to the season, but he had an upgrade package this weekend, supposing to help him out, make him go quicker. Knocked out in Q1. Hulkenberg off the back of a podium, out in 17th, and Albon. The Williams is meant to be so good in sort of top speed circuits and like circuits where it's very power sensitive, and he's knocked out in Q1. Hamilton, it's so strange there. It looks like he's turning into the corner and he locks the rear brakes and just spins around. I don't know how he's done that, because typically at Spa, you shift the brake balance forwards when you go into the bus stop chicane. So maybe he forgot to do that. Maybe there's a malfunction, I don't really know, but you never really see that from Lewis Hamilton. And yeah, very strange. I don't know how that's happened, really. But that's him. That's the end of Q1 for him. Knocked out of Q1. Oh no. Lewis must have felt understanding how Seb felt. Yeah. Antonelli says, no grip, no, we need to check the floor, and don't worry about it, mate. So, yeah, they're essentially, he had no grip. Maybe there's something wrong with the floor. The team says that they need to check the floor, but, yeah, not ideal. Gasly and Tsunoda will be investigated after the session for impeding. Maybe one of them's going to end up with a penalty. I guess we'll see. Is it raining? Unfortunately not. It is dry here today. Looks like the forecast is probably likely to be dry tomorrow as well. However, Sunday, the potential for rain is just going up and up and up and up and up, more and more and more. So, yeah, that's sort of where we're looking at. At the start of the week on Monday it was 10%, and then it went to 30, I think, on Wednesday. Checked today it's 70%. So the percentage of rain has been going up. The percentage chance of rain has been going up, and that's typically means that it's going to rain. So that's I think that's exactly what happened at Silverstone, actually. And you know what happened at Silverstone. It absolutely poured it down. So yeah. Interesting. Is it about Gasly giving a toe to Yuki? No, I don't think it's giving a toe. It says track impeding. So I don't really know. Normally impeding is blocking the driver going through a corner or something. I've been to the race at Spa. What a beautiful track and what a vibe. Walked through the forest and the length of so unforgettable experience. Yeah, I mean, Spa, honestly, if there was a race that I could go to, it would most definitely be Spa. I just don't think there's anything quite like it. Yeah. Okay, let me just pop up a timer for SQ2. It's been delayed a little bit, but I'm just going to guess at when it's going to start, because typically I'm quite good at this, Right, I think it's going to start in 5 minutes or so. Yeah, let me just pop that timer up on the screen. There we go. SQ2 starts in 5 minutes. Brilliant. Yeah, there's a bit of gravel on the circuit. They're clearing that up. I think the gravel was from Kimi Antonelli. Yeah, Kimi Antonelli going through Stavolo kicked up quite a bit of gravel, and that's why they've got a tractor just cleaning all of the gravel up before we can start Sprint Quali 2. Miss SU1, can you recap? Well, we had another mega middle sector from Piastri. Verstappen and Norris keeping up with him barely. Fernando Alonso with a great final sector, great first sector as well. So Aston's looking pretty good in a straight line. Then what else have we got to talk about? I think Antonelli went a little bit wide at Stavolo. We had, I think, Behrman get a lap time deleted. And then the main thing, Hamilton eliminated, Antonelli eliminated, Hulkenberg eliminated as well. I would like to say, folks, all of Nico Hulkenberg, every single time he has scored points this season, it has been starting out of the top 10. And when he started in the top 10, he ends up not scoring points. And when he ends up getting eliminated in Q1, and then he'll go on to score points. So, I've just got to say, hopes are looking good for Nico. The yellow flag there is because there's gravel on the circuit and they've got a tractor on the circuit cleaning that up. So that's why there's the yellow flags there, just to warn the drivers if they were to be out there, but obviously they're not, just to slow down. Okay. Why is it Hamilton was eliminated? He spun at the bus stop chicane. And it wasn't even, typically, right, I'll show you sort of what happens at the bus stop chicane normally. You're going into the bus stop chicane here, and you turn in, and you go over this little crest here. You can, you hit this apex a little bit too hard, and then the rear of the car spins out from underneath you. But for Hamilton, what happened was, he's going towards the bus stop chicane, and then he hits the brakes here, and then he starts to turn in, like, yeah, as you can see there, my steering wheel is ever so slightly turned, and at that exact point, the rear of the rear wheels lock up, and Hamilton spins out. So it's not something that you very typically see at a slow speed corner. Typically, at a slow speed corner, you come in too hot, the rear of the car can't stick with the front of the car, and you spin out. Or you don't have enough front grip compared to rear grip, and you go straight on. But spinning because of locking your rear brakes is one of the strangest things that I've seen in quite a while. New Ferrari suspension doing its work. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's a bump there and the suspension hit it, but Charles Leclerc would have also driven over the same bump as well. So I don't really know what's happened. Okay, it's taken them seemingly a very long time to clear up this gravel. I mean, you just need a broom and you need to push it over to the side of the track. It's not that hard. They've got a tractor out there to do it, but yeah, there's still 2 minutes left of the session. 2 minutes left to start, I think, but I don't know. I don't really know. The race control haven't sent anything official just yet. Okay, is it the car Hamilton? I'm honestly, if I knew, I would have told you guys. But it is, it's a very strange thing. So, maybe Hamilton forgot to shift the brake balance forward, because the thing is, I think Nico Rosberg, when he used to talk, he used to like do hot laps of the circuit and talk about all the different things. So braking into turn number 1 and into the bus stop chicane, you want your brake balance forwards, but going through the rest of these corners here, you do a lot of trail braking where you're braking while steering. And for that situation, you'd probably have like 54%, 52% brake balance. So 52% of your braking force comes from your front brakes, and then 48 comes from your rear. And then normally into the bus stop and into La Source, you have 60% of your braking force coming from your front tyres. And yeah, so for all of these other corners here, you're running 52%, 48%, or something similar. And then you have to change it going into the bus stop. So I don't know if Hamilton forgot or... But yeah, it's... I don't know. You know more than a 7-time champ, question mark? I mean, I genuinely said I don't know, so, it's up to you guys to interpret what I say, but, yeah, I don't know what happened to Lewis. Yeah, they're still delaying it, so I'm gonna have to increase this timer here, folks. I apologize, but yeah, for whatever reason, there's some rocks on the circuit and they still can't. Oh, they've sent an official message. They're starting it in 2 minutes time. Okay, never mind. 2 minutes and we'll be getting underway, folks. Race control have just sent an announcement out. And the sprint race pit stops are not mandatory. Yep, that is correct. Sprint race pit stops are not mandatory. So I think it'll be 14 laps of racing or maybe 13 laps of racing around here in Spa. And yeah, 14 laps of racing, 13 laps of racing. And the drivers aren't going to be doing any pit stops for that one. All right. Albon got screwed by yeah. That's the other thing. Yeah, Albon, Hulkenberg, they couldn't improve their laps because Hamilton brought out the yellow flag after he spun, and of course, if the drivers push through a yellow flag, they'll just get a 5-place grid penalty, which will negate any points, any positions that they gain anyway. So yeah, essentially that's what's just happened there. A little bit unfortunate, but that's the sort of risk that you take. You know, if you go right at the end of the queue, you have the best possible track conditions, but then you also risk a yellow flag ahead of you ruining your quali session. So, yeah, Hulkenberg Albon took that risk. Unfortunately, this time it didn't pay off. Ferrari looks slow in a straight line, while Charles Leclerc is 15th through the speed traps and Lewis Hamilton is 17th through the speed traps. 3:15 for Leclerc, 3:14 for Lewis Hamilton. But let's see, you know, they're 3:14, 3:15. The quickest drivers, what are they going? 3:20 for Antonelli, 3:19 for Gasly. So they're only going 5 kilometers per hour slower at the start of the straight. And then that really adds up. That's the thing you've got to remember here. The speed trap is here just at the exit of Radion. And then the drivers are accelerating, carrying that extra 5 kilometers per hour all the way down the Kemmel Straight. So, you know, they may not, it only is 5 kilometers per hour, but then you've got another full kilometer of going slightly slower than your rivals. So it really does add up. Okay. What happened to Antonelli? He had no grip. I don't know what happened, but I think he might have damaged his floor. So he went wide at Stavolo, which is I'll show you a replay. He's about this point in the circuit. Yeah, just going ever so slightly wide here. So going through this corner, as you can see, you've got a very small margin for error. You've got, what, 1.5 meters, and then you're off into the gravel. So Anthony went wide at this part originally, potentially damaged his floor, and then did a second lap. And with a damaged floor, just had no grip, and ended up eliminated. So yeah, made a first mistake that sort of the consequence of the first mistake resulted in him having no grip, and then yeah, him eliminated. Yeah. All right, finally, time has gone to 0, and as you can see here, the timer is ticking down, folks. It's been ticking down for the last 45 seconds, but nobody's coming out onto the circuit because here in Spa, 10 minutes just isn't long enough to do 2 laps. So the drivers are just going to sit here, and they're going to do 2. Instead of doing a hot lap, in lap, and then another out lap, hot lap, in lap, they're just going to do a hot lap. And then cool down lap and then another hot lap again. So that's the sort of strategy they're going after. Yeah, Norris and Piastri first cars out onto the track. Let's see what they can do. Oh yeah, let me get rid of this onboard as well so you guys can see the team radios. Also, I'd just like to point out, folks, if you do want to watch Formula 1 for only $2 a month, you can get Surfshark VPN using the link in the description. You join an Austrian VPN server, you go onto Google, you search ORF, and yeah, you go onto Google, search ORF, make an account, log in, and then you can watch Formula 1 for free. The only thing you have to pay for is Surfshark VPN. So if you guys are interested, there's a link in the description. I should point out the commentary is in German, so if you understand that, perfect. If not, you just mute it, you listen to me instead. Also, the team radio seems to be glitching out because, yeah, Nico Hulkenberg and Lando Norris have both got understeer and oversteer at turn 80 and 90. You think Marc Marquez will be able to drive an F1 car? I think Valentino Rossi drove Lewis Hamilton's F1 car at some point. So I'm sure Marc Marquez would be able to do it. Yeah. Why not? Okay. If we look at the amount of times that that Max Verstappen has ended up in first position in a qualifying session this season. It is 6 times he's ended up in first position. He's not, of course, been able to convert them all to wins, but he has put in some mega quali laps so far. And yeah, 6 out of 12 races. Of course, we've had a couple of sprints in there as well, but regardless, Verstappen's been driving fantastically in quali. The Red Bull unable to deliver in race conditions. Okay, we've now just got a straight drag race, not a drag race, straight quali laps between the two McLaren drivers. Here we go then. Norris into La Source through the exit there, and Oscar Piastri doing the same as well. Medium tyres for both of them, fresh sets of mediums as well, and they head up the hill through Eau Rouge and Raidillon. Incredible speeds through there for both of the drivers. Piastri is 315 kilometers per hour, Lando Norris 313 kilometers per hour. So Piastri still running a little bit more downforce than his fellow teammate. I think Norris might have changed his front wing angle or something, or maybe he just got a worse run, I'm not sure. But yeah, slightly slower in the top speed department than he was earlier. And Piastri purple in the first sector, 3/10 quicker than his teammate. I mean, in SQ1, he was 3/10 quicker just in overall, and now in the first sector alone, he's 3/10 quicker. Through the high-speed corners, he's 2/10 quicker than Norris by the looks of it, according to the data. We'll have a look at the middle sector times, but just have a look at this here, folks. Purple, taking it all away from his teammate. Norris goes quicker through that part of through the start and the end of the second sector, but through the middle part of it, Piastri is just gaining like crazy. And then, yeah, as you can see, a 10th gained in the middle sector. So, looking good so far. 3/10 up is Oscar Piastri on his teammate. 5 minutes left on the clock, folks. We've got more drivers coming out onto circuit. Only 1 lap. It's pretty much just 1 lap shootout here in Spa. We've got Norris across the line at 142.1, and what can his teammate Oscar Piastri do? Oh my goodness me, 4.5 tenths, incredible from Piastri. They're in absolutely identical cars, and still Piastri 4.5 tenths ahead of his teammate. His teammate who has just come off the back of a home win in Silverstone. And what? Oh, Piastri, has he got a lap time deleted? Oh, Piastri, lap time deleted. I guess I spoke a little bit too soon. Cut the corner at going through Eau Rouge. I'll show you a replay. He did the exact same thing as Behrman, ladies and gents. Yeah, just going through here, hits this apex nicely, and then he's much further over to the left-hand side, cuts this corner entirely, lap time deleted. It is what it is. He's got another lap to do. 4 minutes left on the clock, and things not looking great for Oscar Piastri. I don't know why it's taking me so long to say that. And yeah, Norris has just been told over the radio, turn number 1, minimum speed, turn number 8, braking in a straight line phase. So, those are the little improvement phases. Turn number 1, you just want to carry as much speed as possible. I was doing hot laps of Spa yesterday, in fact, on the F1 game, and it was actually wild. If you carried an extra 7-8 kilometers per hour through La Source, you would gain 0.2 of a second down the next straight, like a huge amount of lap time gained by carrying 7 kilometers per hour more through the apex of La Source. And yeah, it's quite interesting. So yeah, the Piastri and Norris will definitely try to do that. And then for turn number 8, I'll just show you quickly. Turn number 8, the thing to watch out for is, yeah, you go through here, and now this is turn number 8, just coming up. You've got a lot of braking to do in a straight line, but if you can brake in a straight line and then roll the car through, then you get a lot less understeer. So, that's, there's a balancing act. You can brake early, get not a lot of understeer, or you can brake late and then get a lot of understeer. So it's a balance to be had, and I think Norris needs to do a little bit more straight line braking. That's what they say according to the radio. But none of that matters, because Max Verstappen purple in the first sector, and now he's coming through the middle sector, 317 Ks through the speed trap. Now through Stavolo he goes. What can Max Verstappen do? He's going to get a tiny little toe from George Russell as well. Green in the middle sector. He's a 10th and a half back in the middle sector, but a 10th and a half up in the first sector. So now it all just comes down to the straight line speed, the raw grunt from that Honda engine. What can Max Verstappen do? He's got one final braking zone left at the bus stop chicane. Straight line, shift that brake balance forward so he doesn't spin, and then hits the first apex, hits the second apex, straight line to the exit. What is it going to be? Oh my god, 0.6 of a second ahead of Lando Norris. What a lap from Max Verstappen. He would have beat Oscar Piastri's lap time as well. You know, if Piastri hadn't got his lap time deleted, he still would have been quicker than him. And Charles Leclerc is in second position as well. The Ferraris are back, or shall I say Charles Leclerc is back. He got his first win here at Spa in 2019, and 6 years later in 2025 he is going head to head, toe to toe with Max Verstappen, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. All right. Let's see then. Fernando Alonso starts a flying lap. He's second quickest through the first sector. He just had Max Verstappen ever so slightly pipped him out, but let's see what Alonso can do. He's got a couple of purple little mini sectors there, and oh my goodness me, Fernando Alonso's on a roll, 318 kilometers per hour through the speed trap. And is he going to get a purple first sector as Fernando Alonso? Ooh, he was so close, but not close enough. Verstappen ever so slightly ahead. And Tsunoda, slow lap there from him, and he's got 50 seconds left on the clock here, folks. Piastri, it says now or never. He has got to put together a lap. Wait, has that lap just been reinstated? Oh no, Piastri's just completed a lap, and he goes ahead of Lando Norris. Wait, Piastri on a used set of tyres went ahead of Lando Norris. Yeah, I'm reading this correctly. Piastri, on a used set of tyres, is still quicker than Lando Norris. So, yeah, incredible job there from Piastri so far. Russell, his final sector looks absolutely majestic. And he's coming through the final bus stop chicane now. Where can he put it? Of course, he was in second position in 2021. Only fifth position for now. It's, you know, he's really good in the final sector, but you know, his first and second sectors not up to scratch. Ocon purple in the first sector, looking good there. Okay. And Hadjar in third place. Oh, what? Isaac Hadjar, incredible lap. Liam Lawson in fifth as well. These racing bulls are genuinely getting so fast. How are they ahead of the McLarens? I mean, I know the McLarens had 2 laps worth of fuel, but that will only say, I think that'll take about 1/10 of pace. And Sainz is up there in third as well. What is happening? What? This is so close. All right, here comes Esteban Ocon. He was purple in the first sector. Who knows? Is he going to stick it? He is. He's in third position. Esteban Ocon, what a lap. Ollie Behrman in third and fourth. It's a Haas 3-4, and we're in Q2 here. What is going on? Tsunoda up into 10th. And that's out. That's it. George Russell eliminated. Bortoletto up into 4th position. Tsunoda eliminated. Russell eliminated. Lando Norris is on the cusp of being eliminated. Can Pierre Gasly get through into Q3? Will he knock out Lando Norris? It's about to happen. Here comes Oscar. Oh my god, Lando Norris eliminated, and we've got Pierre Gasly in 5th position. Oh no, Norris is on a quick lap. Norris, okay, that was a little bit overblown. I did not notice Norris was on a quick lap. Here comes Lando Norris. I'm sure he's going to make it through into Q3. But how has the lap times improved so much? Yeah, Lando Norris, first position, 2/10 clear. 2/10 clear. Okay, I do apologize for that. And Piastri just scrapes through. Look at that margin, ladies and gentlemen. The margin is, what, 40 milliseconds? And Piastri would have been eliminated? Wow. Oh my god. Yeah, but I've got to say, a great lap from Lando Norris as well. He finally managed to go quicker than Piastri in the middle sector. Piastri has had the upper hand on him in the middle sector for the whole of FP1 up until this point, and he was 3/10 quicker, and now Norris is 3/10 quicker. He's found 6/10 in the middle sector out of nowhere. Pretty good going there from Lando Norris. A little bit more commitment through P1, you know, that can gain you a lot of lap time. If he fixed the straight line braking going through turn number 8, that would have helped him out as well. But I've got to say, very nicely done. Yeah, Piastri got robbed by a deleted lap. I've got to say he did. He would have, if it wasn't for the deleted lap, he would have probably been up in fifth position, fourth position, and that was with the old tires. That was with that was with worse track conditions. Sorry, not old tires. It was fresh tires, but old worse track conditions. But regardless, Russell has been eliminated. Both Mercs, who are, may I point out, Mercs are third in the Constructors' Championship there. 210 points for the Mercedes, and they don't make it through into Q3. What? How have the Hasses come through? I mean, there must have been some crazy track evolution. Also, the wind did pick up as well. The wind, 10 kilometers per hour. 10 kilometers per hour wind, that may have had a slight impact on things, but I don't really know how that's happened. There's a very, very big margin, and I definitely wasn't expecting it. Right, I'm going to have a quick sip of water. I'll put the timer up for SQ3 as well. It'll probably be 5 minutes or so. Yeah, give me a sec. Okay. That's the timer is up there. Okay, folks, now let me know. You've seen 2 quality sessions. Who do you think is going to stick it on pole position? Is it going to be Max Verstappen? Is it going to be Lando Norris? Are we going to get a surprise lap from Charles Leclerc? Or is it going to be Piastri? I guess we shall wait and see. We've got 14,000 people watching the stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. It's been a pleasure commenting to you guys so far. We're going to have a mega exciting sprint race tomorrow. So I hope to see all of you there for the sprint. Because as you've seen, there's so much action. We've got the Hasses up in 4th position. Like, what's going on? We're going to have Hamilton making his way through the pack. Antonelli making his way through the pack. So is Russell. It's going to be very exciting. Okay, I will get you. Let's find out what was the Spa lap record. Spa lap record QUALI. I think it was set by the W11 because I think it was Lewis Hamilton 141.25. That is the quickest lap ever recorded around Spa. The second quickest lap, Seb Vettel in the 2017 Ferrari, I think. If I remember correctly, 2017 or 2018 Ferrari, Seb Vettel goes a quarter of a second slower. But yeah, the quickest lap ever recorded, Lewis Hamilton in the 2020 Mercedes, the W11, a 141.25. So I have a feeling that we're going to be beating that lap time today. It's down to the hands of Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, and I guess we shall see. Let me know what you think. Seb Vettel in 2017. Oh, maybe it's 2017, maybe 18. It was the SF71H or something. SF71H, yeah. I can't remember if that was the 2017 car or the 2018 car. That was the 2018 car, yeah. Fair enough. 2018 Seb, the GOAT. In my personal opinion, as a Seb Vettel fan, as you can see, this is my Seb Vettel wallpaper. So yeah, as a Seb Vettel fan, don't take that too. Hasn't the Porsche Evo 919 set a faster lap? I thought they did. I will double check. But I think that got beaten. I think at the time when the Porsche 919 Evo set their lap, it was the quickest lap, but then the Formula 1 cars went and beat it again. Let's see. Porsche 919 Evo Spa lap time. And yeah, it was a 141.7. 141.7. So it was set in 2018, and then Seb Vettel went and broke the record that year in quali, and then Hamilton went and broke that record in 2020. So that's sort of the situation of the Spa lap record, but we should be getting ready to go qualifying in a minute and 5 seconds. But I don't really know. The race control is being very temperamental today and is not telling me when the session's about to start. So I'm gonna have to increase this timer up again. But for whatever reason, they've got more yellow flags. Nobody went off. I don't know why you've got more yellow flags. Yeah. The FIA, honestly. Also, folks, I've released a new little video on my on the channel. I think learn the alphabet with Formula One or something. I think that's the title. Yeah, that is the title. I made the title. But yeah, go ahead and check that out. I think it's only got like 700 views or something right now. But it's just got a bunch of F1 radio memes. So I reckon you guys should give it a watch once the quali session's over. F1 Gamer, explain the XP thing. To be honest, I don't really know what the XP thing is. Yeah, it sort of just got enabled automatically. I'm gonna have to figure out how to turn it off, or maybe it's fine. I'm not sure. I made the video 3 years ago, but then I edited it. I uploaded it 3 years ago, but then I never published it, I think. So some of the memes are a bit out of date. Yeah, and then obviously I think at some point I had it either sponsored, the video was sponsored or something, and then I deleted the sponsor or something. I'm not sure. 3 years ago, as you can see, very very long time ago. But yeah, it's new for you guys to view on the channel right now. And I guess while we're waiting, I'll do a little bit of a merch update. The merch is getting underway. I've sort of reached the point where I'm ordering samples, so I'm gonna order some samples of the merch, and then to make sure it's a good quality before I start shipping it out around the world. And yeah, that's about it really. More designs coming through. I'm gonna have some classic designs, some for Michael Schumacher, some for Senna. Yeah, I think I'll have one with Fernando Alonso being like, Fernando is faster than you. I think that'll be a nice one. But why are they still clearing up the track? What is going on? Yeah, clearly, I mean, there's a speck of dust on the circuit, and that's why they are delaying the start of the session again. Apologies here, folks. I've just knocked the timer up again. And there we go. Finally, the session is starting in 3 minutes and 20 seconds. I do apologise for all of the delays. It's just the FIA, really. Who's your favourite F1 driver? Seb Vettel. Seb Vettel, to be totally honest, yeah. What merch? Did anything wild happen in SQ2? No, I don't even think anyone went off, so I don't know why it took them that long to clear up the circuit. But did anything wild apart from Russell getting eliminated? Nothing that wild, to be honest. Piastri got a lap time deleted, got perilously close to getting eliminated. But apart from that, nothing all that well, I'd say nothing all that exciting. We've got a Haas up in 4th position and a Kick Sauber in 5th and an Alpine in 6th. Yeah, also, I've got to say, we've had 12 races so far this season, and I've said this stat a couple of times now, but Pierre Gasly has got into half of the Q3s this season. And again, look at the Constructors' Championship. Alpine are in dead last, but still, Pierre Gasly is a man on a mission, and he will get that Alpine into Q3. This is now 7 out of 13 times he's got a car into Q3. It's just mind-blowing. Dhruv Patel, thanks for joining a channel member. Very much is appreciated, buddy. Yeah. Also, folks, do let me know if you want this XP thing, so I'll figure out a way to turn it off. But I just think, I don't know, it's just a little bit of a gimmick, and I don't think it's particularly useful. But let me know what you think. All right, we've got the times coming through now. Very nice. Final 10 minutes. Why is Hamilton out of Q1? He spun on his final quali lap, and yeah, spun. Didn't improve, lap time deleted, or not even lap time deleted, just was a very slow lap, and then that was him out of Q1. Who do I think will get pole? Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, honestly, I'm going to have to go with Piastri, just because of the fact that his middle sectors have been mind-blowing so far. I know Norris did set a really good middle sector on the last lap, but I think Piastri's just gonna edge him out. Pole, but maybe it'll be Max, because he's got that slightly lower downforce setup, and if you can put together a lap like he did in Spa, anything's possible. Unfortunately, he hasn't got his teammate through into Q3 to give him a tow, but as we saw in Silverstone, what did Max Verstappen do on his outlap? He gave, I think, Antonelli and Russell a tow. He gave both of the drivers a tow. I think one driver down the Wellington Straight, one driver down the Hangar Straight, and Then, when Max Verstappen was on his quali lap, Antonelli returned the favour, and I think Russell momentarily returned the favour as well. But essentially, Verstappen hasn't got a teammate to give him a tow, but he will play the nice game. He's got Ocon, Bortoleto, Gasly, Behrman. These drivers aren't going to be competing for pole position, so Verstappen can happily give these guys a tow. They will repay the favour, and they'll give him a tow once they finish their quali lap. So Red Bull have just got to time the pit stop, time the release of Max Verstappen correctly, and then Verstappen will deal with the rest. He'll give some of the drivers a tow. They'll give him a tow back. Of course, the McLaren drivers, they aren't giving each other tows. They're fighting each other for a championship. But, they can start playing those games as well. But Verstappen, I've got to say, he's pretty good at this. He's done this multiple occasions to help him out get pole position. And I suspect he's going to be doing it again as well. Green light at the end of the pit lane is open, folks. 8 minutes left on the clock. We have got Q3 underway. F1 Gamer, he didn't gain an advantage from the Mercedes slipstream. I mean, maybe he didn't gain an advantage, but he still had the slipstream from the Mercedes, which is better than not having a slipstream. And I don't know how that works. How would he not gain an advantage? Okay, here we go then. Bortoleto turning into prime center. I mean, maybe he is. I don't know how this has happened, but really, really good laps right at the end of Q2. And yeah, just that extra little bit of commitment, and it seems to be you can gain a lot of time. 7 minutes left on the clock, though. It seems like nobody's taking that gamble of doing 2 laps in Q3. They're just going to go 1 quali lap, and they're just going to go whenever they want. 1 set of soft tires, 1 tank of fuel, and that's it. They're going to go racing. Okay. What does it mean to give a tow an advantage to driver? Okay, so essentially, a tow just gives you a little bit more top speed. So once you're going down these straights here, it'll give you a little bit more top speed. It'll give you, and you'll just drive faster essentially. So going through here, if you get a tow, and that's TOW, not TOE, then what that does is it just gives you a little bit more top speed, and reduces your lap time essentially. All right, then here we go. 6 minutes left on the clock. Time is still ticking. Everyone's sat in the pit lane, and we are about to go racing. Are we going to get a do Max Verstappen? Are we going to get a Monza 2019? Yeah, we could get a Monza 2019 thing, couldn't we? No, I think the teams have learned from that one-off occasion, and they're not gonna repeat the same mistakes. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, nobody's going out for a lap. Everyone's sat in the garage waiting for someone else to go, waiting for someone else to give them a tow. Clearly everyone's being very selfish, Also, we've hit 182k subscribers. Thanks everyone for subscribing. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, be sure to do so. Hopefully, we can hit 200k by the end of in about 4 or 5 races time. That'll be pretty cool. But do let me know if there's anything that you'd like to see, from the channel, anything that I should improve, anything that I could do better, because yeah, always would love to improve the streams, improve the channel. All right. Where do you watch it live for free? You got to get Surfshark VPN, folks, or just any sort of VPN. You join an Austrian VPN server. You go into Google, you search ORF, and then you enjoy. Basically, you make an account, you log in, and you enjoy. That's how about 300 or so people are doing it on the stream right now. So yeah, definitely does work. Yeah, if you guys are interested, go ahead and check it out. There's a link in the description for Surfshark VPN. You go into Google and oh, the other thing is the commentary is in German, so if you don't understand German, you can just mute the coverage, listen to me, and sync it up, and it's a pretty seamless experience. No one's going to drive? No, I think everyone is going to drive. We've finally got the McLarens. They've taken off their tyre warmers, and it looks like we are going racing, ladies and gentlemen. We are, well, not racing, we're going qualifying. Here we go then. Finally, the McLarens are out, and then we've got, who's that? The Ferrari of Charles Leclerc right behind them. Very nice. Okay. So, here we go. Finally some action here in Spa. We're going to have rain on Sunday, folks. I have the weather forecast. Let me just pull up the weather forecast. Where have I put it? There we go. Weather forecast. Have a look. 70% chance of rain. It was on Sunday. Today, you know, as you can see, 2 p.m. in Spa right now, it's 10% chance of rain. We're not really going to get any rain. Probably on Saturday as well, no rain, but Sunday, 70% chance of rain. You cannot miss this one. I mean, you saw Silverstone, right? And it was incredible in the wet. And yeah, something similar is going to happen here at Spa. 2 amazing race circuits. They've been in Formula 1 for so long. Yeah, just can't get any better. You also passed a like goal for the stream. Oh yeah, we did actually. I guess I can knock that up to 2,000. Why not? But yeah, thanks everyone for hitting the like button. Very much is appreciated. Channel's been doing pretty well as of recently. So, we have got Lando Norris in first position. Then we've got, oh, not first position. Well, he is in first technically. He's going to be leading the queue out. Then we're going to have Max. Then we're going to have Piastri. Then Leclerc. Then Sainz. Then Ocon. Then Behrman. Then Gasly. Then Bottas. And the Hadjar. So basically, within the first 4 drivers, we're going to find out who's on pole position. Because I don't think that Sainz or Ocon, Bortoleto are going to be sticking on pole. If they do, honestly, I'll be over the moon for them. But I just don't think it's going to happen. Once again, reminder, folks, the lap record around here in Spa are 141.25. That is the lap record. So let's see if the McLarens can beat it. Let's see if Max Verstappen can beat it. Here comes Lando Norris. He starts out his flying lap, heads through La Source, and yeah, let's see what he can do up the hill through Eau Rouge. In fact, actually, you know what I'll do? I will sync up my lap with Lando Norris's lap, and then you guys can sort of see it on board. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just going to pause it and sync it up. Okay. So, you know, you're heading towards the Les Combes chicane, and you're braking at the 50-meter mark, super duper late on the brakes. Hit the first apex, onto the left, onto the right again, highest point of the circuit. Now downhill braking. You should brake in a straight line a little bit and then ease off the brakes so you don't get understeer. You make your way through turn number 8 very nicely, then smoothly onto the power, through No Name corner, tap of the brakes, flick the car to the left, onto the power you go. The barrier is 1 meter away. You need utter and pure commitment. Same thing for put on a tiny little lift and then flat through the second half of the corner, then towards the Lafanges chicane. You go slightly to the left and then turn to the right for the first corner, then to the left for the second corner. 5th gear, absolutely flat out until you get to Stavolo. 1.5 meters run off again, and Lando Norris stays just in control of that McLaren as he makes his way through now towards Blanchimont. What can he do? Can he keep this car under control? Can he get a pole position lap? Through the first sector, Esteban Ocon is the quickest, which is mind-blowing. Piastri, is purple through the middle sector by the looks of it. Lando Norris, though, comes across the line. What is it going to be for him? A 141.1. He beats the lap record at Spa. He beats the W11. What can Max Verstappen do? He's a little bit up in the first sector, a little bit down in the second sector. It comes down to the third sector. Max Verstappen across the line. It is provisional pole for Max. Here comes Oscar Piastri, the man from down under. He has had quite a few pole positions this season. Can he make it another one? Across the line, it is pole position by half a second. Oh my goodness me, Oscar Piastri, you absolute beast. How have you done that? You go 0.3 of a second quicker in the middle sector, and then 0.2 in the middle sector. I mean, oh my goodness me. Charles Leclerc in 4th, Sainz in 5th. Here comes Esteban Ocon, here comes Oliver Behrman, but Oscar Piastri on pole by half a second. This man is an absolute machine. Ocon across the line, 5th place for him. Behrman improves up into 7th. Then we have got Pierre Gasly, Gabriel Bortoleto, and Isaac Hadjar. Half a second. That is I think that's the biggest or the second biggest qualifying margin we have seen all year long. Absolutely mega from Piastri. Yeah, here comes Pierre Gasly. Across the line he goes. It's 8th place, unfortunately, for him. What can Bortoleto do? He is across the line for Gabriel Bortoleto, 9th place, unfortunately, and we have got Isaac Hadjar in last one to come across the line, and he's in 9th place. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are going to have such an exciting sprint race tomorrow. McLarens have got pretty similar levels of top speed to Max Verstappen. They knocked off a bit of downforce, and Max Verstappen is going to have the DRS coming down the Kemmel Straight tomorrow. He's going to have the slipstream. Is he going to overtake Oscar Piastri into the Les Combes chicane? Only time will tell. And yeah, it's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We're going to have a brilliant sprint race tomorrow. Then we'll have qualifying, and then we'll have the full race on Sunday. So yeah, thank you everyone for coming along. I'm going to end the stream now. I'll take you over to the sprint race stream. Just hit the reminder button, hit the like button so you don't miss the start of it. And we are going to have a absolutely mega sprint race, because Piastri may be quick in quali, but that pace is not going to hold up every single lap of a sprint race. So double Hasses into Q3, great bounce back from no points scored in Silverstone, and yeah, Gasly up into Q3 again, Sainz into 6th. That's more like it from the Williams team, and yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. Have a wonderful morning, day, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you are in the world. And we're going to have Piastri on pole for the sprint tomorrow, Verstappen in 2nd, Norris in 3rd, and a great fight on our hands. So I shall see you then. Just hit the reminder button, the like button for tomorrow's stream. Really does help out the channel. And yeah, see you later. Cheers, fellas.